Welcome to the show, Matt Miller with you. Well, with Star Trek Las Vegas, the massive convention coming up in just under a month's time, I thought it was prudent to check in with an MC and see what happens at conventions. Joining me from Melbourne is Ben Sorensen. He's the MC, the master of ceremonies at Supanova. Ben, thanks so much for your time.
Hi, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. And in a little carpeted room is very, very different to being out in front of all of the wonderful humans that turn up at Supanova. So it's nice. It's kind of chill out time.
So how did you get into emceeing at Supanova?
Well, you know, it's actually a complex story, you know, with relationships and battles and also no, it's not really, but it is a little bit convoluted. I mean, I've been emceeing events and doing voiceovers for radio and TV for years, and I also happen to be marketing director more recently for a company called ZQ Racing, and part of the overarching strategy that I had for them was to do cons, because it's such a wonderful way to, you know, meet people and to get out there and to experience the wonderful world of pop culture and talk to a really engaged and passionate target market. So as part of that, I went, hey, let's go and present our premium Australian-owned gaming chairs to this market. And then I got to know the guys from Supanova and some of the other cons, and they've gone, so you do this, maybe we could get you in on that. And it was just a fortuitous and wonderful experience to transition from the sponsor side through to the MC side as well, with that existing skill set that I had.
Now, that MC side, this year alone, you've hosted panels with John Barrowman, with Summer Glau in Sydney, with Nolan North. How do you feel? Are you like me, where it's just part of the job, but sometimes you get starstruck, or are you just in awe of everybody?
Well, you know what? I think doing that sort of stuff really teaches you a lot, because when you see the shows, when you look at the shows that these talented actors are in, they make you believe that they are exactly what they are, and it's so wonderful to see them there. But then when you meet the person behind it, you realise how warm, intelligent and connected each and every one of those actors are, and you get a whole different appreciation for them. And I think the MC is a really unique role where you're not seen as, a participant in the con, you're actually working there as well. And to see all of these big stars exactly as they are as humans is very humbling and absolutely wonderful. And each and every one of them, they've all got their own quirks in a beautiful way, but they're all absolutely warm and fantastic.
So your energy on stage is phenomenal, and really brings to light the panel and gets the audience involved. What's it like to bounce off someone like John Barrowman, who is just an incredible person and incredibly happy, almost?
Well, you know what? John's actually coming back to do another round with Supanova for, I think it's Adelaide and Brisbane.
Yes.
And that's really, really exciting, because I haven't had as much to do with John as I have with Nolan or Summer or some of the others. But having seen his panel a couple of times and speaking with some of the other MCs who are also very talented at Supanova as part of the team, he just has this phenomenal energy, and John Barrowman has such a passion for his fans. I mean, if you look at his Supanova, if you look at his Instagram and social media, you'll find that he's so insanely connected to them, and he just speaks to them so directly. And when it comes to stage time and a lot of details, he's very particular, only because he wants to make sure that his fans get the experience that he wants to give them and that they expect from him. So, so much respect for John Barrowman.
Now, obviously, that's an interesting one as well, because as an MC, part of your role is to keep to time and keep the sessions flowing. What's it like with someone, like John or other guests that just want to keep talking? They want to keep engaging the fans. How do you cope with that?
Well, you know, it's a little bit hard. I mean, I had another great voice actor, Vic Mignogna, who has done, you know, a wonderful array of anime voices, and
I can never pronounce his last name.
a huge body of work. But he was one of the guests that I was fortunate enough to work with in Perth, and he just wanted to keep giving, and it's simply because these people, when they do have their fans in front of them, they're just so incredibly giving with their time. But the famous last words at a con is, look, hey, we'd love to continue the conversation. So if you would like to head on over to the table with a signature or photo token, we'd be happy to chat.
Well, Vic's the sort of guy, I did catch up with him in Sydney, and I brought him into the show from Los Angeles because he is Captain Kirk on Star Trek Continues as well.
Isn't he?
Or he was, at least before the series wrapped. As you say, they're so giving, and it seems to be these science fiction and pop culture actors that are just loving of their fans, and I guess that the fans are the ones that keep them employed.
Oh, absolutely. And I find it really interesting, the seamless transition between doing the show, for Vic or for Nolan North, for example, with all of his giant body of work, and then seamlessly transitioning into the con world. They just do it so well, and they're so incredibly polished and appreciative of the fans, and you know, it's almost a full-time job on its own outside of everything else. I mean, if we look at Richard Dreyfuss, for example, he came out to Supanova in Perth, a highly intelligent individual, and you know, that's pretty much most of what he does, and most of what a lot of other of these actors do is cons. It's a big part of their income.
And I find it really funny that some shows have been off air for years, if not decades, but they're still earning a living off it because there are still fans out there. I mean, Star Trek is a prime example of that.
Well, Star Trek, Firefly, do you know what? And you find that when you get in front of an audience, like Summer Glau, for example, absolutely amazing human, but we had a panel in Sydney, I think it was.
I was there.
10:30 or something, which is like in Conland, that's, you know, when the doors just open. And there was still 200 or 300 people in that room. And
it was incredible.
And Firefly fans, which is a hard phrase to say sometimes, you know, they're so devoted. They've got their own personality as a group, as do, you know, anime fans, or, you know, all of the different subsections you'll find have their own idiosyncratic behaviours and their own sort of personality. But and that's, I think, what keeps people coming back. They love the show, but then at cons, as they start to meet and interact with the humans behind their favourite characters, they realise that, you know, they're really great people too, and they've got an endless supply of amazing stories to tell about not only the storyline, but also things that happened on set, and, you know, their own personal journeys and other projects they're on as well.
And when you start a panel, Ben, by fully reclining, as I now know, you have a personal interest in those chairs, but you fully reclined Summer, and I thought that was brilliant. It really just sort of, she was a little bit unsure, and you just went all for it, and that was it, and it made for a fantastic panel, and that's the aim of an MC.
Well, you know, for me, that was a really exciting moment. Because, I mean, you can see the photos. I think they're on my Instagram page, so you can scroll down and have a sticky beak. But that was the first moment that I actually got on stage in front of everyone, and the opportunity arose for me to do that. And the second I said to Summer, "Do you trust me? Don't answer that." Everyone in the audience knew exactly what was going on from all of the work that I'd done with ZQ, because that's a standard thing that we do. And, you know, it was just wonderful to see that little game play out. And, you know, Summer was supported. There was no Summers hurt in the chair reclining. It was all okay.
Well, fantastic, Ben. It is awesome to get to meet you, and you're heading to Supanova in Adelaide, and then you're coming up to Brizzy for Supanova as well, aren't you?
I am super excited. And you know what? Supanova is one of the most exciting show runs that I have the opportunity to do. So if you haven't got your tickets yet for Supanova, make sure you do, and go to the one in your town, but even better, get some tickets, get some mates, and do the whole national run. You won't regret it.
I have done it a couple of times. Well, not the whole national run, but a couple of cities.
Why not?
Well, look, when you are in Brisbane, beers are on me, all right, Ben?
Ah, done. And now you've recorded this, so it's perfect.
Damn it! What have I
I've got
done?
evidence.
Ben, thanks so much for your time today, man.
Wonderful, thank you. Pints, that is, of course.